Welcome to Lake-Sumter State College. Today we are celebrating Women's History Month and VIVA Florida 500. We welcome Dr. Dan Schafer, Professor Emeritus of History at the University of North Florida and author of Anna Madgigine J. Kingsley, African Princess, Florida Slave, Plantation Slave Owner. Dr. Schafer is presenting a program later today sponsored by the Lake-Sumter State College Women's History Month program, the Lake-Sumter State College Foundation, and Florida Humanities Council. Dr. Schafer, please tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm an old guy. Where I'm from, Minnesota. I have retired as a college professor. I was a teacher for actually 48 years. The last 35 were at the University of North Florida. Before that, the University of Minnesota. And then I was a high school teacher and a football coach. So that's my early life. I came here in 1972 and have been living in Jacksonville, and I spend summers in Maine and live in Jacksonville in the other months, and have since retirement. I was a college history professor, and since retirement I've done nothing but research and write books. So I finally have the time to do the things I wanted to, and I'm enjoying it very much.
Can you tell us about Anna Kingsley and why you chose to write her biography?
Well, that's a rather long story. I started writing about Zephaniah Kingsley. I first began the research on Zephaniah, the fellow who fathered her children and the one who called her his wife, although they were never formally married. But I had been before that. I spent 2 years before coming to Florida. I had gone for part of the year to West Africa on a research and documentary film making trip. And then the next year in Jamaica, where I was doing research for a doctoral dissertation. And then I came to Jacksonville, and a friend said, "Why don't you come out to Kingsley Plantation?" I went out and saw the plantation and heard the story about Zephaniah Kingsley and about Anna, and thought surely somebody has written extensively about this. An academic study, a biography must have been written. But as I looked into the matter later, no one had written about that topic. There had been newspaper articles, but nothing other than that of a serious nature. That prompted it. I began looking, researching. I found that it was a massive topic, going to take a long time. So I'd save some money and get a spring break, as all college professors do, or a summer break, and I'd go off to an archive, and soon realized that it was going to take travel all over the U.S., the Caribbean, Africa, Europe, and so put it on that long-term, build the career with easier publications, and eventually the Zephaniah book would be done. But as I was working on this, I realized that Anna Kingsley's story is really a remarkable one, and she spent most of her life from age 13 in that Zephaniah shadow. And so I thought maybe I should think about that in the interim. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that it was a delightfully intriguing story to work on, an important one to write about. And so I worked on that, and then afterward returned to the Zephaniah biography.
Why should we value her story and continue to recognize her life?
Well, Anna Kingsley was a fascinating woman, without a doubt, a very important woman, important part of Florida history. But if you think about a woman who was born into privilege, the child of a man, one of the many children of a man who was due to inherit the crown of the nation of Jollof in what is today Senegal, West Africa, 13 years of being a privileged child, and then suddenly she's caught in a slave raid, captured, marched 160 miles to the coast, thrown into a dungeon, then onto a slave ship, and then at age 13 she is purchased at the harbor in Havana from a slave ship by Zephaniah Kingsley. By the time Kingsley gets from Havana to his home plantation in East Florida, Laurel Grove Plantation, near Jacksonville, by the time he gets there, she's pregnant and would have 4 children by Kingsley eventually, but she's to be freed became a planter, slave owner herself. Some very heroic things that happened during her lifetime. And then she becomes, again, a planter. And the most remarkable thing, Kingsley takes all of his family, a very large extended family, an unusual grouping, to Haiti, to the Free Black Republic of Haiti, so they would be safe from American racial discrimination. And after his death, she comes back, and here is this black woman from Africa who has had the courage now to go to court, perhaps the most racist time in American life. She goes to court, fights the white court system to preserve the heritage and the fortune of Zephaniah for the black children and the black heirs. Just seems to me that this is a woman to be remembered, a formidable person with courage and intelligence and drive. And so I think we should tell her story and retell her story.
Where can people learn more about Anna?
Well, since you supplied me with this is the best place to begin. There are really only two places, unless you're a serious researcher. That would take you to West Africa, to Senegal, if you're a serious researcher. Otherwise, this book that I wrote in 2003 is the place I think to turn. Another place to turn is Kingsley Plantation. The National Park Service has Kingsley Plantation at Fort George Island. They also have a website, and they have a number of Anna documents posted on the website. Beyond that, it's all archival documentary research that one would have to do.
What are your future projects?
Well, I finished the Zephaniah biography, a much larger book. It's nearly a 400-page biography. That is in press now and will be out in either August or September, although Amazon.com Books says November before they'll be selling it. And I'm now at work on a biography, another historical biography of a man named Dr. Andrew Turnbull, who was the founder of a colony for 1,400 Greeks, Italians, Menorcans, and a few French and others that he recruited in the Mediterranean. He was a Scot, and when Florida was a British colony, East Florida was a British colony, he came to the New Smyrna beach area and was granted 40,000 acres of land. So he brought these 1,400 Mediterranean indentured laborers to work at that plantation. It's a very important story, and little known, little told, and I'm about to leave for a month-long research trip in Scotland and England to work on this project now. After that, my wife says I need to work on retirement.
Thank you again for joining us, and I would like to add that Lake-Sumter State College, in collaboration with the Florida Humanities Council and several community partners, have more VIVA Florida 500 programs planned in the fall. For more details, please visit our website at www.lssc.edu and click on the community link.